Hi!
Hello, and welcome to the Daily Almanac for August 18th. So, let's get started.
First day in history!
On this day in history, August 18th, 1774, Explorer Meriwether Lewis was born. Lewis grew up roaming the woods of Albemarle County, Virginia, near Monticello, the home of Thomas Jefferson. When Jefferson became the president in 1801, he selected Lewis as his private secretary. 2 years later, Jefferson appointed Lewis and William Clark to lead an exploration of the Louisiana Purchase, the vast territory the U.S. bought from France in 1803. Also, on this day in 1920, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified. It guaranteed the right of women to vote. It was ratified when Tennessee became the 36th state to approve it. This ended a long struggle to allow women to vote. Also, in 1954, James E. Wilkins became the first African American to attend a president's cabinet meeting. That's a meeting of the president's top advisors. At the time, he was Assistant Secretary of Labor. He sat in for the Secretary and the Undersecretary of Labor, who were away.
Word power!
Today on Word Power, we're going to talk about the saying, "Go berserk." Now, if you go berserk, it means that you lose all control and become reckless and sometimes violent. The word berserk comes from the name of a fierce warrior from Norse mythology. In battle, this warrior, Berserk, and his sons, who were known as berserkers, dressed in wolf and bear furs and fought with ferocious strength. Now, sometimes people who go berserk are so out of control that they fight both their enemies and their allies.
Ooh, extremes.
Today on Extremes, we ask, what is the largest snail on the planet? The answer is the African giant snail. These gooey creatures can grow up to 15.5 inches or 39.3 centimeters long. Imagine a snail that is over a foot long. The African giant snail can weigh up to 2 pounds or 900 grams. They're originally from Kenya and Tanzania, but they've been brought to countries all across the planet, and this has created some problems because the African giant snails compete with snails that naturally live in these new places, and they usually win out. That means that the snails that naturally live in these places end up dying out.
Health tips.
The utensils you use to help you eat, knives, forks, and spoons, do a great job when they're being used properly, to eat with. But if you use them as toys to play with, they can be very dangerous. Knives can cut you, forks can stick you, and even spoons can cause serious injury if they hit someone in the eye. Forks, knives, and spoons should be used during mealtime and not during playtime.
We the people. Right.
Susan B. Anthony devoted 50 years of her life to the cause of women's suffrage. That is, women being able to vote. After casting her ballot in the 1872 election in her hometown of Rochester, New York, she was arrested, charged, tried, and convicted for voting illegally. She was sentenced to pay a fine of $100 and court costs. Anthony used this experience to promote the cause of women's suffrage. In a speech delivered repeatedly in 1872 and 1873, she called on her listeners to fight our battle for the ballot, all peaceably, but nevertheless persistently through to complete triumph, when all United States citizens shall be recognized as equals before the law. Women gained the vote with the passage of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution in 1920, 14 years after Anthony's death. Well, that's all the time we have left today for Daily Almanac. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you tomorrow.